Hey everyone, welcome to the Fortress of Solitude podcast. I'm your host, Sergio Pereira, and today I am joined by the lead star of Don't Breathe, Stephen Lang. Okay, I'm kidding. It's just Jarrod Saunders. Ugh, whatever.
I was about to do the voice, man. I was about to do the husky voice.
The husky voice of Stephen Lang, the man who wanted to be Cable. Remember that?
Yeah. Initially, when you mentioned his name, I pretended to be a blind guy, and I realized nobody would be able to see that.
That is embarrassing. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. That's a terrible joke. But anyways, we are obviously here today to discuss Don't Breathe 2, which is dropping in South African cinemas on the 1st of October. Now, I mean, I've got to be honest with you, man. Like, the first Don't Breathe, it was a pretty pleasant surprise.
Yeah. I mean, I went into it, you expect, because there's no A-list actors in it.
Yeah.
Well, sort of Stephen Lang, sort of a little bit, but there's no like real big A-listers in it. You don't expect much, but then the movies was surprisingly really, really good.
Well, I was pretty excited because it was a Fede Alvarez movie, and I mean, he's done some really cool stuff. I mean, remember he did the Evil Dead remake as well, so that was like really awesome. I found that was a really good surprise as well. So when Don't Breathe came around, I was like super psyched to go into it and check it out. And I think more than anything else, it just also subverted the genre of what I expected, because the trailer kind of leads you to believe, okay, cool, there's somebody breaking into a house, and there's this like old dude who's like, really military trained, and and then it spun it on its head with that like massive twist at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it again recently, and like even the second time I was like this, and it's been years now since I watched the first one, and it still holds up. It's like a really, really good film. Yeah,
it's a good horror thriller. Like that's what it is. I mean, but it's just the way that it's It just like I said, it's just a surprise of the twist, because I think, when you see the trailer, you kind of think, okay, I know what's going to happen in this movie. Yeah. And then when you actually go watch it, like, oh, wait, okay, this dude is actually not really a good guy. He's a pretty terrible human being. And then the way that they flipped that around, and like, it was quite interesting. Like, I just found it was a really cool twist. And that's why I think Don't Breathe 2 looks super interesting as well, because now suddenly this dude has a daughter that we've seen, and like, all of a sudden, like, you're thinking, well, how did this daughter come about? Like, you also remember like the previous movie, and you kind of think, wait, is he trying to redeem himself here?
Hopefully one of his projects didn't work out. You remember the weird basement project that he had going? Hopefully one of those didn't work out.
so it's kind of interesting. I'm interested to see how like they carry on this sort of premise, because obviously the biggest success of the first one was, him obviously using the rest of his senses and basically defeating anybody who came into his house, which was pretty cool. And like now it's like, obviously there's going to be something similar happening, we know that, but there has to be something different, because now we already know who this person is. So I have a feeling this is going to be more of a redemption story for him. But the thing is, can this guy be redeemed, since he really is like such an awful human being?
What was weird about the first movie is that my point of view sort of jumped between feeling sorry for him and then feeling like he needed to die, and then like jumping between those things. Like I felt for the guys who were breaking into his home, and then I also felt for him. So they like kind of jump between those your feelings, playing with your feelings there. So there were times where I was like, okay, he doesn't deserve. I mean, they broke into his house, so they kind of deserve what's coming to them. But then on the other hand, you don't want to see them die either,
But do you think as well, like maybe our experiences, because I mean, especially like considering we're in South Africa, where like, house burglaries are higher than anywhere else. Like we seem to be like a lot more sensitive about this stuff. We're like, no. These burglars need to be punished. We feel that way. Whereas the rest of the world might be like, oh no, it's like house burglaries don't happen as regularly as it happens here. Whilst we feel a little bit more heightened. So we were like cheering, Norman along basically.
Yeah, that is very true.
For the most of the part, even though we're like, they're just a bunch of kids effectively breaking into something. We're like, no, they could be stealing his laptop. We feel bad about this. What if they're breaking in and stealing? Like, you feel that?
I think the point that that shifted everything for me is that they broke into his house, they stole stuff, and then they took it further. Like one of the kids brought a gun. One of them, they started messing around with the old man. Then I started thinking like, maybe they deserve what's coming to them.
Yeah.
Because you can see from the setup already that he knows that something's amiss, and you're just kind of waiting in the silence for something to go wrong.
No, definitely. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they do it, because obviously Fede Alvarez is not returning for the second one as a director. He's still the co-writer, but actually his co-writer now has been the director. So they just like flipped it around, which I think is pretty awesome, to be honest. Like if you're collaborating, like suddenly it's like, okay, cool. Well, you direct the first one, I'll direct the second one. So, But look, I mean, the one thing, obviously, besides Stephen Lang, it's pretty much a brand new cast. Yeah. Which is going to be kind of interesting to see how they work with that, because I really enjoyed the chemistry of the cast from the first movie. Yes. I thought it was Jane Levy, and it was that the kid from 13 Reasons Why, I can't remember his name, Dylan Minnette, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So
basically everybody died in that film except for like 2 people, really.
Thanks for the spoilers, Jarrod, for the people who haven't watched it yet.
Well, if they're listening to a podcast about the sequel, they shouldn't.
Maybe they're planning on watching them like as a double feature, like, so you just spoiled it. So you just spoiled it for everyone. But yeah, like there was only one person.
There's like 3 people in the whole movie, I think.
But it's true. Like the thing is, I did enjoy the cast. Obviously, Jane Levy was like a big one as well. But I think it'll be interesting to see what they manage to do with this. The most important thing though is, do you think, obviously we don't know what happens, with Don't Breathe 2, like at the end, does he survive or doesn't he survive? Or they're probably going to pull out like, one of those like sort of false finishes where like no one really knows, because that's what most movies do. I mean, like you kind of want to leave it open. Do you think this will be like, a trilogy?
I have no idea, actually. That's a good question.
I'm interested, like, I would be interested if this would be like, I mean, if you think about it, it actually would make a lot of sense, because the first movie introduces you to this guy, damaged individual, but like, bad human being. Second movie, we're presuming is going to like, maybe be more sympathetic to him, try give him like, push him a little bit towards redemption. And what if the third movie is his like redemption arc? Like this is like The Godfather.
The third movie is he trains a whole bunch of blind kids to fight around the houses. I don't know. Where does it go from here? Like,
well, it could be the origin story for Styx from Daredevil.
Or Blind Fury.
Yeah, no, not that movie again. I don't want to watch that movie again. No. But yeah, I'm interested to see, because there's a lot of interesting like prospects here, because I think the second movie here, like Don't Breathe 2, is definitely going to be riding the hype of the first one. Like I think a lot of people that were interested in watching it, they're going to be like, oh, that was a really cool movie, let's see if the second one delivers. And I think, obviously Stephen Lang is there. This is not one of those sequels where it's like, okay, the budget gets cut in half and we just hire an actor that looks a little bit like the person, kind of like Robert Burke as Robo in RoboCop 3, just because he looked a little bit like Peter Weller. That was like the only reason it was cast. Wasn't because he was actually a really good actor. But like this is different. I think this is one of those moments where it's like, okay, cool. Stephen Lang is on board. The same writing team. They still got a lot of filmmaking team. So I think everyone's involved, the key players, which obviously means there's a lot of faith in this movie.
Yeah. So I have a question though before you continue.
Okay.
Do you think, we've seen the trailers now. Do you think that they should have continued the story with the original lady who gets away at the end? The teenage girl who gets away at the end, or the fact that they're doing something completely different and completely new?
I was thinking that, because remember when I said, obviously, like I missed the cast really good. But as we've been talking, I've actually been thinking about it. I've got the perfect idea for like Don't Breathe 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my pitch. Now, Sony, like, please, if you listen to this, do not plagiarize it. You can send me the check. Okay. So yeah, basically the idea is that the first one, obviously, she gets away, right?
Yeah.
And she knows what he did. She knows he's a terrible human being. Now, he's obviously alive in the second one, and he's got a daughter.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we don't know the events. Let's presume that he's alive at the end, and the girl stays alive. I don't presume no one's going to kill the kid. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's not the 90s. Nobody kills kids in movies. So she stays alive. So let's say they're together by the end of this movie, and happily ever after. The third movie is basically Jane Levy's character comes back and she's like, no, what's going on? I know what this guy did. And now she basically becomes the antagonist of that movie because she wants to expose him, not believing that he's actually turned a leaf and he's like basically a good guy like now. So she like refuses to believe because after everything that he did. So that could become like one of those things that basically the third movie's almost like a case of forgiveness, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. Like that's very interesting. Yeah,
that's what I'd
go with that.
So I'm telling you, this will be bigger than the Godfather trilogy. Like right now, I'm saying this is like, everyone will forget about Martin Scorsese. No, not Martin Scorsese. What was a Marlon Brando? I'm thinking I've got Scorsese in the brain. All this Marvel talk lately. Marlon Brando because it'll be Stephen Lang.
Yes.
So this is a redemption.
But the only reason she forgives him is because she kept all his money anyway.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, but I think it could be cool. But yeah, look, I'm super keen to see what they actually do because there's a lot of different directions a sequel can take. So I think it'll be interesting to see what they actually decide to commit to, because I have a feeling that we're obviously going to see a lot of the stuff, hiding in the dark and fighting, popping out of the corners and like that sort of thrill, the jump sort of, you can call it jump scares, but it's more like, you're kind of rooting for the dude, that's there. Yeah. So like, that is, yeah.
I was thinking about it actually. He's kind of, I know this is a very strange thing to compare it to, but he's kind of like a predator, like a monster hiding in the dark type of thing. It's probably more interesting than the Predator movies that have been recently.
Well, I kind of think it's interesting you mention it because I see it also in the sort of aspect of like it's reversing the whole sort of slasher sort of genre where Jason is chasing a bunch of kids. Yeah. Because now basically the kids have broken into Jason's home and now he's taking them out. Yeah, so like that, it's sort of like a reversal of that. So I think that could work. But let's see. But anyways, everyone else out there, hopefully you go and check out this movie. We want you guys to check it out and let us know. I mean, what do you think of it? Was it as good as the first one? Is it better? Let us know. And obviously, we don't have any spoilers in this podcast, so tell your friends about this because Jarrod already spoiled the first one for you. Yeah. But there's no spoilers here for Don't Breathe 2, which I probably should have put at the front of like the podcast. But while Jarrod's spoiling everything, so it's spoilers galore. But yeah, and while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comment section down below if there are any other topics you'd like us to discuss in the future. Until next time, cheers.